Well, I think we've seen that the Environmental Education Master's Program is one of the programs at SOU that attracts students from all over the country. The challenge has been that it's attracting fewer students, and the classes, the core classes in the summer have fewer students in them, and they don't appear to be attractive to other students besides the environmental education students. It used to be there were a lot of teachers who would take those courses for additional professional advancement, and they seem to have dropped off. The standards have changed, and more universities are starting environmental education graduate programs, and so our competition has gone up at the same time the number of students have gone down. So we need to do a major study of that and see what changes we can make in order to attract more students. Is it more financial aid, which in this time of budgets is a challenge? Is it different program? Different ways to bring in mixed clientele to those classes, all those sorts of things. And I've been encouraging the department to work with me on that for quite some time.
So what do students do? Because we have a binder full of ideas over years, over 5 years old, that have suggested several ideas to increase retention, increase recruitment, change curriculum, to attract more broad base of participants into this program. What do we do with these ideas that we've created for so long?
Well, I think we're going to have meetings probably after March 5th, because environmental education is not right now being charged with being reduced, and the biology department is busy trying to deal with some other issues related to the provisional plan. But after March 5th, and certainly when Stewart is back, we need to have some meetings and talk about it, because we want to have a strong program. Right now, it's an excellent program. It's just that we don't have enough students in the program, and there's concern for the long-term health, and we need to fix that.
So is this these comment periods or these brainstorming sessions, will students be actively invited to participate?
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe you shouldn't switch the form to that.
Just need the exercise.
Okay, let's see. We have about 7 more minutes, so a couple more.
I was just curious, like, I understand our problem is that we just aren't getting the number of students coming to our school. So what are we doing to encourage students to come here? Like, what kind of outreach are we doing? Because that's what I propose, that we need to start getting students more involved and going out into the community, talking to people down at local high schools and integrating programs with their programs to make it, I feel like we're up here and nobody really knows about us and what we do here, and I feel that could be a key part of this community, and if we went out there more, we could be much more successful.
Well, I agree completely, and I'm trying to get Jonathan Eldridge up here because I know he's got some ideas about this, and he's been working on a number of these areas, so I think he can speak better than I do.
Well, I think enrollment management is something that since I've been here, trying to pay a lot of attention to. How do we recruit more students, and once we get them here, how do we keep them here and help them be successful to graduation? And we are in the process of taking a wholesale look at the way we go about our admissions office and the functions within there, integrating that really into an enrollment management philosophy that relies more on the data to drive the decisions we're making, so that we can get to the right areas, we can make good decisions on where do we have capacity and where can we recruit more students and how do we go about that. We're really recruiting more into Northern California now as a result of having the Western Undergraduate Exchange going to California, we've seen tremendous growth there. But what we need to do more of is continue to do more analysis of, with the students coming in, what are their interests, how many of them are already on track, how many of them aren't, what flexibility do we have in terms of marketing different programs. We did 2 weeks ago, and we'll have another one in a couple of weeks, the preview weekends where we get prospective students and their parents on campus. We completely revised that. We did that based on our data, which shows that one of the big drivers of student satisfaction is interaction with faculty. So we reorganized the entire program to have at the heart of it interaction with faculty. And not just that, but say, well, what do we want to be the outcome of this? Well, we want to give them a different experience than they'll get elsewhere when they're looking at different colleges and universities. And we also want to leverage the recruitment and admissions process to help teach students what it means to be a student here and what the expectations are. And I think some of that goes back to, you know, some of the issues that people bring up around university seminar and that type of thing. You know, what have we been communicating on the front end around what are our expectations versus what students get when they arrive here? And so bringing those things into alignment. But as we put more effort into actual enrollment management rather than, you know, just hoping that we end up with the class that we need to end up with to meet our budget, we are taking a look at everything from the point we first make contact, and we've done an assessment now. In the fall, we did an assessment of all of the admissions activities that we do, not only out of the admissions office, but also across the rest of the campus. We identified a lot of holes that we're now trying to figure out the right ways to go about filling those. We've identified areas where we need to put more resources. We've identified some things that probably we're spending more time on than we need to. That process is going to go through this admission cycle, and I want to be where we're a year ahead of time in our planning with that. And by using the data, we'll better be able to do that. A lot of the marketing, revising the materials we put out, relying more on the web, not only our website, but in getting electronic messages out to prospective students, better managing the flow of when we communicate. We're seeing benefits out of that. In fact, right now, you know, our admissions trends for next fall, we're tracking better than any of the other institutions in the state. Now, with our current situation, I don't know what will happen with that, but we're doing all kinds of things to try to increase the yield of students, including, I don't know how many of you, when you first came here, got your 8 award significantly after you should have, but we're committed now. I think the deadline is February 16th for submitting your scholarship application online. Prospective students will be getting their 8 award letters on March 15th. All returning students are going to get that April 15th, which is as much as 6 weeks ahead of when we've done it in the past. And we've done that through, you know, having an online process and streamlining a lot of what we're doing with the processes. So students will be able to make better choices earlier in the process, and that will benefit us.
He's also suggesting that students be ambassadors.
Right, and that's the other piece. Those are a lot of things we're doing. We do have student ambassadors. We've had students try to get more and more students involved. Like some of you in the room may have been here for the academic fair we had at the preview weekend. One of the things that Barbara Porter and her folks have been trying to do is to get more student profiles. I think the thing that we can never do enough of is to tell the stories of the great things our students are doing in the classroom and out of the classroom with the faculty to show what a great academic environment this is. And so we need more of those stories of the research that's taking place, the interesting capstone projects that are happening. And I also think part of what we're talking about is how do we communicate what our identity is to students as well. And I've talked with a couple of people, and a few came up with the microphone today about, you know, where does sustainability fit at SOU, given our strong commitment to the environmental sciences and other things. And I think we can market that a lot better than we've been doing.
Well, I think if we did more community projects too, like if we took clubs out, instead of having clubs focusing only on student activities, if we combine their activities with community projects, like I'm just now starting an arboretum club where we're trying to pick up work on the arboretum, but we've already talked to the Nature Center and we're trying to organize inter-community groups like that to get people talking, functioning, and spreading word. And I think that's an important part on how to get the word out there is by actually getting out there and doing work out there, not just telling people, hey, this is what we do, but actually going out there and doing it and showing people what we do.
Right.
I think that's important.
I would agree. That's why this past fall we took the freshman class out and to 20 different agencies in the valley and did community service work, and why we need to do more. We just got a grant from AmeriCorps to have a VISTA person on campus doing civic engagement work. Some of you know Renee Fisk, who just graduated in December. And Renee will be working full-time here to get students and clubs and organizations engaged in the community, with the idea being that not only builds affinity in terms of retention, but it also really sends a message to prospective students about the type of place this is and the commitment that students have to the real-world issues that are around us. So I agree. The more we can do, the better. You know, stop by and see me. I'd be interested to hear more about what your club is up to.
And I just wanted one observation there. You said there's a big draw to the university is the different programs we offer that other university doesn't, and I think that falls right on the lines of geology and those kind of programs that are really catered to this region. And like, you know, I think maybe we need an identity change here. We've been pushing on business and on these big things, but you can do that anywhere. But we're sitting here on Cascade Siskiyou National Monument, the most diverse area right here, and I think we should
And they aren't necessarily mutually exclusive either.
Friends, it's
1:30, and we're going to need to bring this to an end. So I know there are a few people that want to make a comment. We just need to do it really quickly, I guess that's what I'll say.
My question was directly related to the conversation that you guys just had. It just seemed really shocking and blindsided to be hit with, these programs might be cut, when it seems like there is such a great option for getting a hold of the passion and the inspiration of the people who are in these programs to go out and recruit people. I mean, if numbers are always the problem. But it just, I had no idea that there was a problem. I would have loved to do some work on something like that. And I'm wondering what the chance is of instead of eliminating things or titles or any sort of programs or degrees, what is the chance of there being some sort of period where these programs, if their numbers are their problems, if they can get their butts in gear and do something about it instead of just being eliminated so quickly?
Yeah, Dan,
what's the problem, what's the chance?
I can't really answer that because we have to have our budget plan by March 5th.
Yeah.
We're taking notes here, and I mean, there's a lot of messages obviously coming through loud and clear here.
When did you guys know?
Huh. Well, I don't know really when the analyses were done of the programs. I think really earlier, maybe November was when they really started analyzing the programs. This has not been an ongoing analysis. That's and that is something we know we need to do now. But there's, again, hindsight is really easy.